back, everyone, to another episode of the Not Quite Cinema podcast. We are here in episode 8. We're making great time. We're covering so many things, and we are here to talk about the movies and shows that grab our eyes, they turn off our brains, and they make a few folks out there say, such as Francis Ford Coppola, that is not quite cinema. Jeremy, do your thing. Lead us off with the topics and agenda to introduce our audience.
Yeah,
and we can really get into this.
So starting off, okay, I think Ben may confirm. We have some more mail. We have some more mail, I believe.
Some more mail?
Some more mail. I think so.
Well, I actually don't have any mail.
Oh, you don't have any mail? Okay, well, other than the mail,
I have an email.
Oh, you have email.
I have email.
Okay, well, that's mail.
Can I get into it, Jeremy? Do you want me to get into it?
Feel free.
So this is crazy. Usually I get mail from the multiverse, right, guys? And we call it a multiversal mailbox.
Yeah.
This might be multiversal inbox, kind of a little segment right here. Let me tell you that.
Inbox.
Like, let's go into this email that I received.
Well said.
From the multiverse. And I don't want to alarm anyone, but this is pretty crazy.
Okay.
This is like never before seen kind of things. So I'll start it off. Ready?
Go ahead.
It's from like a bunch of letters and numbers at hotmail.com.
Okay.
So it says, "Hi, NQC Podcast. As said before, your pod has exploded in the multiverse. Thousands of listeners every day. In my universe, we seem to be at different points in time. The year is 1997, and Marvel Cinematic Universe seems to be so different from yours. We do not have any of the Andrew Garfields or the Tom Hollands or Chris Hemsworth that you discuss. Instead, see this chart of the cast. It's wild. Also, email is taking off. Hope this still reaches you. From Universe 122796."
I enjoy, if we're just accepting that this is a part of reality.
Yes.
I really enjoy that they just are figuring out email.
We're at different points in time. If they're from like 1997.
1997, yeah.
That's like, whoa.
Yeah.
You know? All right, Jeremy. I'm gonna airdrop this to you right here, and we're gonna take a look at this cast and be like,
okay.
Whoa. Okay. Yeah. Are you looking what I'm looking at?
Oh wow.
Are you looking what I'm looking at right here?
Wait, that's
okay.
That's really.
So right now, what we are looking at is a cast list of the 1990 version of the MCU.
Even says made in the 90s.
Made in the 90s. Wow, their graphical
This is really interesting.
prowess is super cool. Spider-Man. Let's start out with the biggest names like Iron Man, Spider-Man, and Thor.
Yeah,
like
go ahead.
Spider-Man, Leonardo DiCaprio. That was originally intended too.
Really?
Like,
I did not know.
It was like when Spider-Man was up in the air and they're trying to get the movies made, right?
Yeah.
All they were trying to do was get the movie off the ground, find the actor, right? Tobey Maguire was not the first pick. Just telling you that right now.
I can believe that.
Leonardo DiCaprio was so hot. Well, I mean, like, wait. I mean,
you're
like,
not wrong.
I mean, he was like,
you're not wrong.
He was like super like popular. He was like super.
Oh.
Like, he was like super hot. In Hollywood terms.
No, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like not physically attracted to him. Is what I'm saying.
Okay.
So, he's Spider-Man in this universe. That's pretty crazy to me.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. I would love to see Leo DiCaprio try and be a superhero of any kind.
Here's the thing. I was born in 2000. You were born in 1999, Jeremy.
Correct.
If this were to happen, the MCU would have been like past. It would have been like the original Star Wars for us. That is now, you know, and it would be like something that we just like tell tales about and like, oh yeah, it was like the most like expensive movies ever made, like the biggest budget or biggest box offices.
Yeah.
Like, would you live in a time where the MCU is like maybe, I don't want to say a thing in the past, but before your time?
Yeah, there's definitely this changed element of I'm not growing up with it now. It's established. It's there. Other people know about it way more in advance. Like these are the old movies I would go back and watch. Like,
yeah,
I think I would not give up the experience of wanting to grow up with the movies and grow up with the characters, but I don't know, man. Like just looking at this casting, it is really hard to be like,
dude,
no,
the grass is always greener.
I
mean, grass is always greener, man.
I'll agree with that. I guess that's
Thanos is Ron Perlman.
That's actually
all right.
And again, it's good.
I'm gonna go down the list.
Casting.
I'm gonna go down the list for our listeners.
Gonna give a yay or a nay.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go down the list real quick so they know what we're looking at. All right. So Captain America, Brad Pitt.
Yay.
Winter Soldier, John Stamos.
Yay.
Falcon, Eddie Murphy.
Yay.
Scarlet Witch, Alicia Silverstone.
WA.
Hawkeye, Christian Slater. Ant-Man, Matthew Broderick. Iron Man, Tom Cruise. Spider-Man, Leonardo DiCaprio. Black Widow, Mila Jovovich.
Yeah, that's how you pronounce it.
Jovovich?
Yeah.
Black Panther, Denzel.
Yes.
Vision, Ethan Hawke. War Machine, Cuba Gooding Jr. Thor, Dolph Lundgren. Hulk, David
Duchovny.
David Duchovny, thank you, Jeremy.
Hey, no
Keanu
problem.
Reeves is Doctor Strange. Nick Fury is Keith David. Loki, Gary Oldman. Thanos, Ron Perlman. Brendan Fraser is Star-Lord. Gamora is Halle Berry. Nebula is Demi Moore. Rocket Raccoon is Joe Pesci. Drax, Arnold Schwarzenegger. And Mantis is Winona Ryder.
I love it. like.
Yo, the geniuses in the 1990s in this universe.
Seriously,
wow.
they hit it.
Good on them. I wouldn't live in it though. I wouldn't live in it. The experience that the MCU is, it's a theater experience. You go to see it with people. If I were to be like, I'm gonna watch it on streaming and like search around for 40 movies,
I mean,
it wouldn't work out for me. I would no. Sorry, but the MCU is perfect as it is. That universe sucks. Sorry to disagree with you like that, Jeremy.
I mean, it's not. I think my final answer would be I would stay here.
Yeah, okay.
I think so.
Okay.
But yeah, it's hard for me not to want to grasp these different iterations of characters, like especially like Iron Man, Captain America in our universe. I don't think we're gonna see another version of those characters on the big screen for a good long while. Like I really doubt it. So I mean, the chance to see another iteration is really tempting. But yeah, I think it's I can't put a price on growing up with those movies.
Absolutely.
And I mean, RDJ alone as Iron Man, it's enough to make me want to stay. Like, I'm not taking a chance on Tom Cruise as Iron Man. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I can't.
All right, well,
can't do it.
Thank you for sending your fuck me. I can't even speak sometimes, man. I'm gonna cut this out. Thank you for sending us your email in the multiverse. Appreciate that. Stay tuned and see what we got next coming from the great beyond.
Yeah, thanks for sending that in. Your universe is shit, bro. I would not go. You got
not
the
a good
short
idea.
end of that deal.
Yeah.
Granted, you're alive right now and conscious as like an adult, so maybe you did grow up with these movies. But I'm just saying, universe sucks,
All right,
bro.
well, let's move on here, Jeremy, and introduce the rest of the topics that we got going.
Yeah. So you've actually we're a little something different this week here, Ben.
Are we? Oh God.
I mean, you know about it, but it's you have.
No, I haven't heard about this. Whoa.
But you watched a Texas Chainsaw this week.
Sadly,
so
I did. Yes.
You'll tell us a little bit about that. I did not watch it. For me and our listeners, just so you know, scary movies aren't my thing. I don't love them, and I can hardly appreciate them. So Ben,
everyone
took this
say it with
one
me.
Alone.
Pussy.
Okay. All right.
Move on.
We have our Batman countdown continues. It's our last countdown until we go and see the Batman.
Yeah.
2022 with Robert Pattinson. I'm so excited. Ben, are you excited?
Did you want to wear the costume to the premiere, or is that me?
It's both of us, but
okay.
I hear you. But we watched the Nolan films this week. We didn't have a lot going on this week. No new releases, really.
Pretty slow week.
Pretty slow week. So, I mean, any week to talk about these Nolan films and just fanboy to the maximum degree, this was it. And our last thing this week is we watched a little gem from the 2010s, good old Ryan Reynolds film, The Green Lantern, released in 2011. So
sure, bud.
We'll get into that. But yeah, first you want to take us with Texas Chainsaw.
Since Jeremy didn't see it, I'm not gonna be crazy about it right here.
Yeah.
But I'm just gonna read my small review and tell you about it.
He's got a prepared statement.
The Texas Chainsaw reboot gives itself too much credit in its unorganized mess. The Texas Chainsaw reboot gives itself too much credit in this unorganized mess. The story falls flat on its peeled face, giving no attention to story or character or any relationships within the film. We as an audience don't get to connect with absolutely anything. And while gruesome and gory that the film is, and it's relatively okay paced, some things just aren't bigger in Texas for a second time, and I would not recommend seeing this film. The final score for this film for me is a 3.4 out of 10, and I'm giving it the designation of the worst I've seen so far.
Damn.
Yeah. Whatever movie will come up next on the podcast could maybe take away that title I'm giving it right now. But right now, it has earned my because I'll explain. we both get one designation of the best I've seen so far and the worst I've seen so far.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So I'm giving my stamp to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, 2022.
Damn.
Yeah,
The worst?
the worst I've
Batman
seen so far.
and Robin worse than that?
Yes.
Damn, that's hard. I'm glad I didn't watch this movie.
I hate this movie. I have, for nostalgia purposes, I can't give Batman and Robin that. But
Yeah.
for straight up, I hated it. This movie, it was earning it 100%.
Okay.
There's a line in the movie where he says, "Try anything and you're canceled, bro."
Oh,
And I'm
okay.
like, there it is. That's the last check mark.
That's where
all
you
it
know
is.
that the dialogue has let you down.
Yes. Yes. He's like
Okay,
live
well-
streaming and then he gets like cut up by chainsaw and shit. So
Jesus,
it's,
dude.
My God.
Well, you heard it here first, folks. Don't watch that movie.
Don't watch it.
It's a piece of shit.
The worst I've seen so far. 3.4 out of 10. All right, let's move on to the next one, Jeremy.
Okay, we're jumping right into the Batman countdown. We watched Christopher Nolan's epic trilogy starring Christian Bale, Heath Ledger.
Yeah.
What's his name? Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy.
I almost forgot his name. And Liam Neeson in that. That
Oh,
was totally out of order. Liam Neeson was in
Yeah.
Batman Begins. Then Heath Ledger's the
Liam,
Joker.
Heath, Tom.
And then
So
Tom,
let's get into Batman Begins.
yeah.
This movie is almost like 2.5 hours long. It's over 2 hours.
All of them are like 2.5 hours
Yeah.
long.
And it's crazy to think that you would go into a Batman movie and wait almost an hour to see Batman on screen, like
True.
in costume in Batman Begins.
True.
You know, so this movie it's like a labor of love. It's not. I'm not going to call it a slow burn, but it's a respect for the character that I don't think a lot of origin films have
No.
as compared to this. And Batman just truly shines through, even though he pops up like only an hour into the movie and through the rest of the movie. You know,
Yeah.
that's like what all the Nolan films do. They kind of like don't make Batman the center of the universe all the time.
Yeah.
You know,
Definitely not.
it gives attention to other characters to grow and have some sort of play inside of the story in Gotham and the world that Nolan has built.
Yeah, I think they, more than any other Batman movie or like series of movies,
Yeah.
I think that this trilogy really pays attention to the context surrounding him.
Mm-hmm.
Like sometimes, yeah, during this trilogy, I did feel like, oh man, like Batman's kind of an afterthought here. Like,
Mm-hmm.
but I mean, he's still so central to like the psychology and the emotion that's getting developed
Mhm.
throughout the film. Like, it's really hard to like it is hard to like keep him in the forefront knowing that this is a Batman story.
Mm-hmm.
But it's honestly, for me, like these movies were just so masterfully told. Like I had no real plot issues with
what
these
happens with the
movies.
movie is that Batman doesn't need to be in your face on screen for the story to happen.
Yeah, no.
It's like he has a cause and effect throughout like the whole movie, and it's so masterfully
yeah,
done,
I
you
feel
know?
I feel like a lot of other movies, like, and that's mainly what I have like used to kind of compare. I use old Batman movies to be like,
Yeah.
what worked about this, what worked better,
Uh-huh.
like, and oh my god, I just like the Batman, the character just got developed so well, and Bruce Wayne got developed so well.
Mm-hmm.
It's so hard for me to complain about anything with that character.
Absolutely.
Christian Bale, just you brought it, dude. I can't say like
Just
Batman
wait till
Begins.
Robert Pattinson gets in there. Just saying.
I'm a little worried. I'd be lying if I say I wasn't a little worried, because I'm like, in the past, I think filmmakers have used a lot of Batman's flash, like a
Mhm.
lot of his like big moment, like brooding in the dark, like costuming kind of, huge moments.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of substance there, which I think Nolan brought to the character of Batman.
Mm-hmm.
So I am a little worried that we're gonna get all flash, no substance in this next movie too.
Well, funny you say that, Jeremy. Not to get off track, but like reviews have been coming out about Batman, right?
Yeah.
About the film. People are praising it 100%. It's just so much love for this film.
Yeah.
And I'm just saying, I saw a couple of reviews that literally say like outright like Pattinson will be your new favorite Batman.
Okay.
Who called it?
I mean,
I want to know who else called it.
You called it, but I mean, okay, who else called it?
No one else called it.
A million other people, but like, but getting back to Batman Begins, like, yeah, I don't know what it was about this viewing for me.
Mm-hmm.
I loved this movie so much.
So much
like
fun.
it really landed so well for me this
Mhm.
time. Like I don't know what it was about his origin, but I just watching this movie, I was engaged. I was so captivated by
Hmm.
this Bruce Wayne character,
Yeah,
like honestly. And his supporting cast was great in this movie. Like
it's great in every
so
movie.
good.
Besides, what's her name?
You talking about Rachel?
Rachel. What's her name?
Oh, the
Actress.
actress. Oh, Katie Holmes in the first
Katie
movie.
Holmes. She ain't in the rest of them. She's
She's not.
the
I mean,
character's good.
yeah, Rachel is in The Dark Knight, like
Yeah,
that
the
second
actress. I'm
movie.
talking the actress,
Well,
dude. Come
yeah,
on.
no, Katie Holmes didn't continue. It was Maggie Gyllenhaal. She got
Yeah.
switched out for in The Dark Knight. But yeah, I mean, I liked her character. I think a lot more in The Dark Knight than I did in Batman Begins. But I gotta say, like more than I was expecting or remembering, this supporting cast was really good.
Super good.
Like I really enjoyed it.
I just want to say thank you, Christopher Nolan. Thank you so much. You changed the course of superhero films and the superhero genre forever to come
Seriously.
because you said it can be good. By the way, it can like it doesn't have to be like, oh, that was a good film like Spider Man was,
Yeah.
right? It was like, holy fuck, like films can actually be like cinema, or these superhero movies can be like cinema, with
Yeah.
like Heath Ledger's performance in the next movie that we're going to talk about. But Batman Begins really set the stage for, I think, what we know the superhero genre as today with Batman
Definitely.
Begins. So I want
Definitely.
to give my score, and we can move on to the next film right here. I'm giving this an 8.6 out of 10.
Damn, okay. I give it a 9.2.
Ooh,
I
9.2.
love this movie on this
Okay,
watch. I
fair
really
enough.
did. But I mean, last thing I'll say about that, what you had just mentioned was like, I mean, up until this point, what did we have? Like, we had, I think,
We had like Spider-Man,
the best movie that
Iron
had come
Man.
out from that genre was probably either Iron Man or
Well,
more likely Spider-Man 2
wait,
was like the
no.
best in the
What am I talking
genre.
about? Iron Man? Like, no, Batman Begins, which came out in like 2005.
Oh, true. Yeah, is I think Spider-Man 2 came out in 2004.
Yeah, that's true.
So I mean, that was probably the best that
Wow,
we
what a
had.
string of films.
Yeah, like oh my god, the build up to what we have today, like
Yeah.
Spider-Man 2, Batman Begins, Dark Knight, Iron Man, like
Mm,
that is a crazy good lineup of
yeah.
like ramping
Like
up.
I think what Chris Nolan did was because we got good Batman films, we got the Keaton films, right?
Yeah.
And those were good,
I
but they
mean,
were super
they
stylized
were
and like,
I
and they were Tim Burtonized.
yeah.
It wasn't like crazy, like, oh, this is like super cool. It was like it had a certain aesthetic and feel that it was trying to be something instead
Yeah.
of just being cinema.
I would agree with that.
You
Yeah.
know?
I definitely
Yeah.
felt
So
like it
this film really
was
changed that.
I think so. It definitely moved it into more of a filmmaking place rather than like a here's the characters that you know
An
that you love.
adaptation place,
Here, yeah, there you go. That's the word we're looking
Like
for.
let's do right by the comics. It's like, no, use the comics as like a stepping stone to make something better.
Yeah,
You know,
I
and
mean,
that really did it.
and that's what Marvel does now,
Hmm.
and it's I'd say it's worked out pretty
Yeah,
well.
and they're really trying to get. Yeah, we'll get into that maybe at a later date.
Yeah,
But yeah, let's move on to the Dark Knight.
Dark Knight. Wow, I gotta say, for some reason,
Walking Phoenix is better, but still.
what is that serious or
What
are
do
you
you
joking?
What do you mean? Are you serious? I'm being serious. Walking Phoenix is a better Joker.
Really? You actually
Yes,
think Joaquin
yes,
Phoenix
I
is a
think
better
Walking Phoenix is
Joker?
a better Joker. What do you think? You don't think that?
I don't think that.
Wait,
No, I do
how
think
many
Heath
dances
Ledger's a
does
better Joker.
does Heath Ledger do in this movie?
He doesn't need to do any dances.
How many times does he tell like actual jokes in a comedy club in
Okay,
this movie?
I'm just saying this character to me feels more like like I like the take that Joaquin Phoenix had, but I mean this version of Joker feels so just accurate,
Okay.
just so correct. Like this is Joker. Like it is. Like I love the antagonistic relationship that they just develop. Like and it's always Joker and Batman that do this. Like oh we're on the same path, but then we diverge, and it's like oh now it's an internal struggle between the two
Uh
of us,
huh.
and we're destined to do this forever. Like I loved that aspect of this film really
Okay.
well, and it was surprisingly subtle. Like I thought that was going to be central to the
Hmm.
plot, but it kind of wasn't.
No,
It was kind of just in the background.
absolutely. With the Dark Knight, this was the film when I brought up my first point. Like Batman isn't always on the forefront in some of these situations.
Yeah.
Like in this movie, it is clear as day because it didn't have a problem with introducing too many characters with Two Face and Joker.
No.
That Spider-Man 3 was kind of going through at the
Yeah,
time,
definitely.
which came out the year before. So this movie really, it didn't say, hey, let's like just try to force him in there and make Batman the forefront so people will still come see the movie.
Yeah.
It really said, Batman, you made these people, but we're gonna tell it in a way that gives them screen time and lets the audience feel the effects of the actions that have been taken in the previous scene, you know? It is
Yeah,
so good. You really see Batman isn't just in his own world. He is living
not at
inside
all.
of Gotham,
Yeah.
you know? And everything he does, punching a fucking guy, taking down the mob, you know? Because it's mentioned countless times like, Batman, you literally took down the entire mob. They got desperate. What
Yeah.
did you expect? Them to just be like, oh, dang, you got us. You know?
Yeah, this story was really logically well done.
Absolutely, it was.
Really, really logically well done. Like the character arcs, the plot devices they use
Mhm,
to kind of develop these characters with the story is really just so masterful. Like the
mhm.
writing in this movie is just peak. I can't
Absolutely.
find a single piece of superhero cinema that
I
tops
think
this,
it's
honestly.
I still think it's, like, kinda still funny that it has that comic element where it's like, "I'm gonna take over the city." Right? It's like, "Is
Yeah.
that all you I'm gonna take over the city." I mean, okay, do your thing,
But
bro.
but they make it like conceptionary to where it's like I'm gonna take over the city, but it's to prove something. It's to
Mhm.
prove that like, and that's why he went after Harvey Dent,
Yeah.
which is like it's to prove that everyone is just as crazy as I am, is
Mhm.
just as awful as I am.
Yeah.
And I love this like stark contrast and realization at that very end moment where yeah, the people won't do what you expect them to
Mhm.
because they're better than you. Like
Yeah.
you are the worst among us and you should know that. Like I do like that we don't really know what happens to his Joker, and we just kind of don't
No.
find out in Dark
Absolutely.
Knight
Because we
Rises.
don't know where he came from either, so what's
Not at all.
I think it kinda fits his character to be like, "Okay, we don't know where he went either."
Yeah,
You know?
I'm perfectly fine with how this movie ended. Honestly, this was like really close to perfect for me.
Yeah.
I
Ready
was
to move into
engaged,
those scores?
interested. Oh god, yeah, I'm ready. What did you give this one?
9.6 out of 10.
Damn, okay, I get a 9.5. Hey, I like.
We're in there, Jeremy. We're neck and neck.
Yeah,
We're
we
right
are.
we're
We
I'm
are.
here, you're here.
I
I'm here,
gotta
you're here.
say though, I this is a very controversial statement. I'm
Oh
gonna say.
god.
I mean the scores reflect it. I almost enjoyed Batman Begins as much as The Dark Knight
Oh,
on
that's fair.
this watch. Like
Enjoyment is one thing, but
it was actually really close
praise is
for
another.
me. Like I loved these movies so far. But to be honest, to move on to the next
I think the
and
weakest of
last
the
movie,
three, but the most quotable,
I the
the
most
absolute
quotable.
most quotable
That's true.
is The Dark Knight Rises.
Shout out to Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy is the most quoted like man in any of these films.
I agree.
Like I don't think I quote anyone as much as like from like any superhero movie as much as I quote Bane of like just the random shit he says is so cool,
Yeah,
man.
I mean, in that entire trilogy, I think the line that gets the most quoted is that Bane moment where he goes like, "I was born in the dark."
I was born in the darkness.
Yeah.
There's also like no one cared who I was until I put on the mask.
Yeah, that
you
was
know?
a good one too.
Crashing this plane.
Yeah. No survivors. Oh, dude.
He has like
so, I mean,
at
how
some
did-
time I had to make this observation right here.
Go ahead.
At sometimes it sounds like he's doing like some sort of Jamaican accent through the mask.
Wait, that's kind of true.
And then at some points it sounds like he's doing
Oh
like a
my
Bill
God.
Cosby type of thing, like I'm crashing this plane. You know what I mean? Do you know what I'm saying?
I've got to rewatch this movie again and think
Just
about
like
that.
have that in the back of your mind. Like, is Tom Hardy doing like a Jamaican accent right now?
I can definitely see a couple of moments where that shines through. The Bill Cosby thing actually resonates a little more.
I will tell you the one moment you will say he is doing a Jamaican accent.
Yeah.
The one moment is when they're fighting in like in the underground, like in the
The
sewers.
sewer, yeah.
Yeah, Batman and him.
Mm.
He says, "Which one will break first?" Right? What does he say? He says, "Your mind or your body or your spirit or
Yeah,
your
I
body?"
think something like that.
Yeah, he says, but the way he says, "Your mind or your body," and
Or your body.
and then he throws him down. I'm like, wait a minute. Dude.
Yeah.
That was Jamaican. I'm not tripping, right? That was Jamaican right there.
Yeah, I could definitely hear it because I mean, yeah, honestly, the voice acting in this, like of Tom Hardy's voice, just generally in this entire trilogy, I do think is the most quotable.
It's most quoted.
The most recognizable.
So
like
good.
it really, I don't know if I want to call it like super good quality. Do I like love the Bane that we got in this film?
It's different. It
Not
had to fit
necessarily.
with Chris Nolan. You know,
Yeah,
it had to fit with Chris Nolan.
I guess so. And I mean, it looks pretty rooted, but
Yeah.
I mean, for me, yeah, this movie does feel weaker. And you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna blame the villains. I will.
Oh yeah, the villains
I'm
were
sorry.
the weakest of the three, 100%.
Yeah, I really like Bane was not bad, but I mean, the core motivator being Talia.
Yeah, the core
I
motivator.
don't give an F.
I mean, the core motivator was like the same as the first movie.
Yeah,
Destroy
I guess so.
Gotham. League of Shadow destroys Gotham.
We have to talk about the
It-
falling asleep bit with that she does at the break.
when she
Talia,
died.
she's like, my father's work will be done.
That's it.
Just fucking goes to sleep.
She died.
Oh,
Duh.
my
Some
bad.
people die, Jeremy.
I'm just saying. I honestly like villains were definitely
Villains
the part
bad.
that didn't work for me in
Mhm.
this movie. I still liked a lot of Batman in this movie. I wish they would have brought Catwoman in a little earlier.
Mhm.
I think I would have cared a little more about that. But
Yeah.
I mean, what did
Funny thing you
kinda
mentioned
think?
Catwoman. Like, you know her roommate in the film?
Yes.
That is actually meant to be like some sort of Easter egg slid in by Mr. Christian Nolan, where
I
it's
swear to God.
Harleen Quinzel.
I swear to God, man, it better be. Because I went back. I don't know if anyone else did, but I went back and watched Batman Returns. There's no Darth Vader helmet.
Well, you were probably watching like the director's cut or something.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Director's
But that is
cut.
actually meant to be Harleen Quinzel.
I swear to God.
And that's why she gets her like criminal edge a little bit, is from like living with
Mm.
Catwoman. So like maybe I think they were intending later in the Dark Knight franchise, if they were going to continue, like Harleen Quinzel will be involved.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I definitely felt like there was a finality to this film.
Yeah. Well, he fakes his death.
Well, I mean that, but I'm just saying, like, all throughout the film, like, this feels like it's starting as the conclusion. Like,
Mhm.
I feel like as soon as this movie kind of gets going, I know that I'm not gonna get another Nolan film.
Yeah.
Like, it just isn't like it's just where the story indicates constantly.
This one is the most, I feel like, comic booky of all of the Nolan films.
I'll agree with
There are
that.
times where you're like,
Yeah.
does Batman really do that? You know, does he really say that? Does he really say, so that feels, after Catwoman like just disappears on him?
Yeah.
And I know, I mean, Batman
You felt it
had
was
left.
very quippy.
I thought it was quippy. I thought
Mhm.
it was like kind of like unrealistic at times. You know, when Batman, when he says, "Light the flare, show my signal," and then he lights it, and there's just like a giant fucking
Yeah.
fire emblem of the bat symbol, and you're like, did he really do that? Did he take the time to really do that?
I can definitely see how this movie felt gimmicky.
Yeah.
It did at times. I wish that he would have kept this. Like, I mean, it's a serious movie. It
Also,
is,
the strobe light scene.
but- the strobe lights.
There's the part of the movie where Batman is, going into the underground trying to fight the League of Shadows, right?
Yeah.
With Catwoman leading him to it, and
Yeah.
then they do that effect where it's like gunfire, and then he goes,
Yeah.
he's like dodging it.
didn't-
I thought it looked so bad.
I
That
didn't-
looks that was actually poorly made.
Yeah,
They
I
should have
think
cut
so.
that shit out of the movie.
Probably. And I guess to compare it with what we're gonna see next week, that promo shot of gunfire and Batman walking through that dark hallway.
Yeah.
That looks like what they were intending to go for.
Mhm.
Like, that actually looks good. Oh man, I'm excited for this movie.
Yeah.
I am really interested to see.
Well,
what
let's
happens
say
with
our
this.
scores for this final film, and then overall grading of the trilogy.
Okay.
So-
What did you give it?
Dark Knight Rises is going to get an 8.2 out of 10 for me,
An 8.2 out of 10.
with a little honorable
Damn.
mention for most quoted.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess that's fair.
And then the overall trilogy for me is, oh man, 8.6
Are
to
you adding it all up in your head?
9.2. I feel like if we were to say group these together and you watch it, right?
Yeah.
These films, this trilogy would land at a solid 8.7 out of 10 for me.
Okay. Yeah,
I mean, it's a staple of superhero films and the genre as a whole. So,
yeah, I mean, I think that's fair. For me, in Dark Knight Rises, I
Mhm.
gave it an 8.1. Really, this was like so close to just being an adequate finish.
yeah.
Like, I didn't love all the character choices they made in this film.
Uh-huh.
Like, some of the story elements just weren't there for me. Like, yeah, I generally think of this as the weakest of the
weakest,
three.
yeah.
But I'll put it at 89. Like, for
Also-
just the
also, like,
trilogy.
Bruce Wayne just gets back into Gotham because he's Batman.
True.
That's such an acceptable answer, by the way, to be like, how do you get there? Come on, he's Batman.
It's Batman.
Yeah, come on, who cares? So
Yeah.
overall score for the trilogy, what would you give it?
89%.
Oh, you said 89?
Yeah,
Okay,
89,
I thought you were saying that's what-
or 8.9.
Did you say your score for Dark Knight Rises?
Yeah, 8.1.
8.1.
8.1.
All right. Well, dude, that's gonna wrap up the Batman
done.
reviews.
Yeah.
We did all of the good ones. Sorry, Affleck, but we did all of the good ones.
But to be fair,
Notable ones.
To be fair, we did all of the solo
Ones. Yes, true.
stuff. We didn't bother doing Dawn of Justice.
No.
We didn't bother doing Zack Snyder's Justice League cut or
Absolutely.
the regular Justice League cut, which is one of the worst movies I think I've ever seen in my entire life.
So next week, stay tuned, is going to be our Batman review.
It's going to be like 20 minutes, guys.
At least. So
I'm so sorry.
it's going to be so hype. All right, let's move on to our next and final segment.
Our next and final segment, Ben, in preparation for watching some top tier DC stuff and timely DC stuff. We just watched Nolan, who was from 2005 to 2012. We decided to take a trip into another a shameful chapter, to be honest.
A shameful rabbit hole, if you will.
Green Lantern,
Oh,
2011.
Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds. And I didn't realize until I started watching, also stars Blake Lively.
And
also
Taika
stars
Waititi.
Taika Waititi.
I couldn't believe my eyes.
I couldn't either. I blamed, like, is that
Taika
really
Waititi?
Taika Waititi?
What is he doing here?
Honestly, the biggest thing was, like, I saw him, I was like, how is this movie not good
Yeah.
if he's in it? I don't understand.
He was
what's
just an
happening.
actor. He didn't have writing credit.
Yeah, he didn't have any kind of creative control.
Mhm.
But how was this movie for you?
Let's look at the context. So we just talked about the Dark Knight trilogy, right?
Yeah.
That led up. This came out in 2011.
Mm-hmm.
Dark Knight Rises came out in 2012. Man of Steel came out in 2013.
Yeah.
There is not a doubt in my mind that they were intending to wrap all of these together in a nice little bow like the MCU.
What a set of characters to start with, too.
Like,
those are our big three: Green Lantern,
yeah,
Batman.
they were like,
and...
Green Lantern is a super, because Green Lantern
I
is
guess
a
so.
cool character, right?
He is, and
He is.
he's a big gun.
And you think
He
about
is.
Batman in Batman versus Superman, when they were like putting it all together, they
Yeah.
offered Christian Bale like $50 million.
Damn,
They were
really?
completely, yeah, they wanted Christian
wow.
Bale to be in the movie. They wanted Christian Bale as Batman.
I did not know that.
So Christian Bale turned it down, right?
That
Said
would
like,
make sense.
I'm not doing it.
He's
like,
done with the character. It had been too long.
and he said like, I can have another role in the movie. Like, I won't be Batman, but I can have another role in the movie, you know? And they said, nah.
Oh.
But he ultimately like decided against it. And so when I think about that, when I think, okay, they were planning to, because Man of Steel was in Batman v Superman,
Yeah.
and they were offering Christian Bale to be in Batman v Superman, right? And so I connect those two, and I put Green Lantern right in the middle of those two things, the time frame.
Yeah.
This was 100% going to be a part of the DCEU,
Yeah.
right? Okay. Can you imagine Ryan Reynolds? Can you imagine if this movie was good? Could you imagine if even it was shit?
Yeah.
They were like, nah, let's keep it going. Like, just put him in there.
To be fair, I kind of thought this movie was a little shit.
Yeah,
But
it was.
yeah, I mean, I can definitely see that they were trying to build a little something there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know again if that was true or not,
Mhm.
but it's pretty easy to surmise that was a possibility.
Totally.
I mean, would I have liked to see this cast of characters together? If I think about just the vibe of Man of Steel, the vibe of Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises,
Mm-hmm.
and Green Lantern, that I think is three different tones
they
that
don't
try to collide.
they don't do that.
It would not have worked.
That's why
And
Marvel
I mean,
would work, because everything's the same.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
It's
I mean,
all like
tonally,
the same tonally.
yeah.
They're all the same.
Yeah, but I mean, I definitely felt like, I mean, that would make sense to me that
Mhm.
Christian Bale would just turn it around. Not even for like, oh man, too much time has passed, but like they left that character in a very final place. Like I mentioned before, like
Motherfucker dead.
that guy was done. Like Batman was not a character in that universe anymore.
Yeah.
Like, he was done. He, like, the public believed that he was dead.
Mhm.
Like we get a little hint that, also we didn't mention him at all, but Joseph Gordon-Levitt in that movie in Dark Knight Rises, he's pretty good. He's pretty good. And we get a little
Mr. Wayne.
tease. We get a little tease. So
I come
mean,
from the orphanage down the street. Mr.
I
Wayne.
mean, I definitely would have liked to see maybe a little bit better of a Dick Grayson, but
Oh yeah.
hey, I'll take it.
Teach his own. Good job, I guess.
I'll take it. I mean, I guess you could submit that, like, oh, maybe he takes up that mantle, and eventually we could see him as Batman
Yeah.
with this group. But that's even more bizarre to me.
Exactly.
I don't think this ever would have worked, and I think they realized that
Mhm.
right after making Green Lantern.
For real.
But to get into like the movie specifically and not
Mhm.
the context, yeah, there was not a lot about this movie that went well to me.
Nope.
To be honest,
Not at all.
villains shat the bed. Sorry, wasn't good.
Boba Fett was in it though. Temuera Morrison was in the movie.
He was in this movie.
He was a purple fucking alien,
yes,
dude.
he was.
That was so sick. All right, I'll let you keep going.
No, I'm glad you mentioned that because that was one of my notes that I put down. And I was like, and I didn't realize until the credits rolled. And his
Really?
name, yeah, and his
I
name
noticed
popped
it
up,
immediately.
and I was like, oh man, hey, wait a minute,
I
was
noticed
that
it
guy
immediately. As soon as he said, "It's Parallax," I'm like, "Oh, true. That is
shit.
him. That is Temuera Morrison."
Yeah, I hate the CGI in this movie.
I fuck with the suit heavy. I think the suit is sick as fuck, except the mask. The mask is so bad.
Also, I'm so sorry, but why does he have blue eyes?
Yes,
Why the
that's why I
fuck
hate the
does he
mask.
have
Why
blue
does it transform
eyes?
his eyes? I would have expected for them to like go green.
It's supposed to transform his eyes. In every other iteration, Green Lanterns have green eyes.
Why is it
Why
sky
is his
blue?
eyes blue?
They're sky
blue. Like, what's happening?
They're like
guys?
almost white. They're like that bright of blue.
Yeah,
you
they
know?
were like almost translucent. And I'm like, I don't really understand why. But yeah, the rest of the suit worked for me.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot. Generally, the CGI though
Ooh,
was really rough in this film.
Man.
I did not like the action sequences. The constructs were a little subpar to me, to be honest.
Mhm.
And I mean, Parallax was just awful. He just looked like
Yo,
it the whole time.
Megamind, motherfucker. That guy was so cheesy.
Oh my god!
At one point, he straight up does a Michael Jackson move to like
does?
teleport himself up. You remember? You know the scene I'm talking about where they're like, it's Amanda Waller. Amanda Waller's in this movie. Amanda Waller and his dad are like tying. They like clamped him down in the bed, and then he like goes.
Oh yeah, he does
then
like
like that. And I'm like, oh
Yeah.
fuck.
It's
yeah.
where he like levitates himself up.
He's just like this incel with like brain power now,
yeah,
and he's so stupid.
Yeah, I mean, generally, I think that emotionally, I'm pretty disconnected from almost everything in this movie.
His motivation is that the girl doesn't like him and his daddy's mean.
Yeah.
There's no like society betrayed me. I lost everything. It's like,
I think originality is really an issue at this movie where I'm like, none of this is particularly interesting for any reason. Like,
exactly.
It's all just kind of boilerplate and generic.
Mhm.
Like, I don't really, I do think, and I mentioned this before we started, but I was just like, yeah, I mean, this kind of filmmaking for superheroes does feel like what Martin Scorsese and Francis Ford Coppola are complaining about. It feels
I think
soulless.
any like
It
sort of like
does.
validation, but yeah, you're right. Kind of like when in certain
Yeah.
films, in certain situations, like sometimes people just like shit the bed and they just don't care about.
They bare bones did.
They bare bones it. Yeah.
They did.
All right. Love interest, best friend who's in on the secret, and then big bad cloud villain.
Yeah. Big bad cloud villain, partially big bad villain that got bullied
Yes.
when they were younger.
There you go. Boom.
I honestly, yeah, it felt very generic to me. It
Yeah.
felt like a cash grab.
Mhm.
I can see why this didn't get another iteration. I can see
They wanted the
why
sequel,
Ryan
that
Reynolds-
Sinestro after credit scene
Oh yeah,
where he puts on the
Yeah.
free ring. But yeah, for me, film was, if anything, mediocre at best at some parts of the movie.
At best.
Right? I think the design of like Green Lantern was kind of cool besides the mask. And I
Yeah.
thought like the character chemistry between Green Lantern and Blake Lively, that was kind of like working on some levels.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, it's boilerplate. It goes by the numbers. It doesn't try to do anything too crazy. It's just
Not really.
superhero saves a day, you know?
Yeah.
I'm gonna give this one like a 5.0 out of 10. Just straight
Damn.
up right down the middle.
Damn.
It's like if you want to do everything by the numbers and by the book, you're gonna get a 5 at least.
Yeah.
It's like putting your name on a paper, you know?
That's a really good way to describe it.
That's
actually.
all it is.
Yeah, I definitely felt like this movie was pretty joyless.
Yeah.
To be honest, and had not a lot of character.
Mhm.
It definitely felt, boilerplate is the best way I can the best thing I can say about it is that it was just barely passable as a superhero flick. I gave it a 5.5. So I mean,
Wow.
not too far off. For us, it lands in that category of, back in 2011, discount night at the theater.
Yeah.
It ain't nothing special.
It's not. It's for me. It's like I go into a movie and I have like a 5.0, like to start with.
Yeah.
Everything you do after that is either gonna take away or add to it.
It did nothing.
It did nothing. And I'm like, okay, well, that is a movie I just watched. There it is. There it is.
That definitely was the feeling I got off of this film. I wish it could have been something better because I
Mhm.
like Green Lantern, and honestly, I don't think the Hal Jordan in this is bad. Like,
No, not at
think
all.
I think Ryan Reynolds actually does a
He was
pretty
pretty
decent
good. Yeah,
job.
he's
Like,
fine.
everything I know about Hal Jordan, he's arrogant, he's short-sighted, like he's rash, like reckless. Like,
It's so funny to
made
think
sense,
because when you
but-
mentioned that, I feel like they try to take all those characteristics and they're like, let's make it the version of like what a 10-year-old would think are those things.
they dumb it down.
Yeah, they're like,
real hard.
I'm a badass pilot. I don't listen to the rules. You know, that's the kind of vibe I got for it. But yeah,
Yeah.
our scores I think simply reflect like the sign of the times that the Green Lantern was in,
Yeah.
and especially putting it in between like Man of Steel and The Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah, man, that was some poor decision making.
Like what a
there.
string.
I mean,
it's crazy.
just
But-
give it a background to look shitty. I mean, even that year,
Mhm.
Captain America, the first Avenger came out.
Wow.
And I mean, even just comparing it to that movie, which isn't in an upper echelon for
No,
me
not
in
at all.
MCU movies, it's pretty boilerplate. But even that was way better than this movie.
Mhm.
Like mountains better than this movie.
Mhm.
Absolutely insane.
Yeah.
that it
But
was
I
that
think that's
bad.
gonna do it for our agenda for this week, Jeremy.
Yeah, that's it. We really
We-
didn't have a lot. this
No,
week.
not at all. Sorry about it, but
Yeah,
I
hey,
don't make the rules.
Blame
man.
the industry, man. Hey.
But that's going to do it for us. Next week, we have the Batman 2 review.
Yes.
So excited, so hype. I want everyone to stay tuned and follow our social media at not. Oh my God, I'm like burping.
Hey, I'll continue that.
Wait, no, I can do it. Sorry. Or
Go
make
ahead.
sure to follow our socials at Not Quite Cinema on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. So, Jeremy, what else is there to talk about? I don't have anything else to plug.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I'll plug, Spotify and Apple Podcasts, which is hopefully one of the places that you're listening to this. Other than that, just kind of looking ahead a little bit. We've got Batman coming up. Morbius is going to be a little while
soon.
after that,
And we have Moon
in
Knight
April.
as well
And
coming up in
Moon
the next
Knight.
few weeks.
Yeah, Moon Knight coming out, I think in March sometime. It starts releasing, so I am really excited to see what comes in the next couple weeks.
Right.
But
That's
yeah,
going to be it for us.
we will see you next week for the Batman. We are real excited for that.
All right. Talk to you guys later.
Next week.